right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Dr. Stone, Season 1, Episode 19.
Oh boy.
All right, we've encountered the Tsukasa Empire. We had a good fight in there. It was awesome.
Gen was absolutely amazing.
Yep.
And he has now revealed himself.
Yes, so not only that, Senku as well will be Tsukasa will be made aware of Senku being alive.
Right, so we need to kill everyone here and slaughter them, bury their bodies and everything so that Tsukasa doesn't know, and then that way he can get surprised by everything.
Right.
Yeah.
If we wanted to basically go into an eternal war with Tsukasa, that would be the way to do it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But
you can replenish his forces a lot easier than the village.
Yeah,
That
so
is a little bit of an issue.
in terms of what would actually be probably best here is that they convince Kyoga that he can go back and tell Tsukasa that it is not worth it to fight us.
Oh, if only.
Yeah.
But they have left,
you know.
which means that they could potentially have a little bit of time to go out and get some stuff from outside.
They haven't left yet.
Oh, they haven't left yet.
They have not
but
left
when
yet.
they leave, if they don't leave a guard, then maybe they could do something to help prepare a little bit for when Tsukasa comes back. Because
well, it's going to take some time because even though these guys are more muscle-bound, roided out, monsters and stuff like that, it's going to be a decent amount of time before they necessarily get back. Unless Tsukasa was already on his way, and these were just the fastest ones that arrived here.
That is true. They did wait for that storm,
yeah.
so maybe they sent like a messenger back or something of like, "Hey, we're here." I don't know.
Yeah,
but
we'll see. But yeah, Senku, Suika, and again, very much pulled a one up on Kyoga there.
Indeed.
And let's hope they can continue this winning streak.
Yeah.
If things escalate. So y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, and then come back here for the discussion. Watashi ga smartphone ga!
This is crazy. This is actually
amazing.
Crazy, and I love it. I love it so much.
Just making a circuit board alone. But
hey, even if they're not making like Senku said, he's like, no, we're not making smartphones.
Right.
We're making regular phones. And even then, I'm not sure if he's saying regular phones are like radios.
But they have electricity.
But they do have electricity.
So in some ways, they've covered the most difficult part already. Except for the fact that they will need to be able to make
batteries and like...
Well, no, the part in the phone that is transmitting the radio wave signal or the cellular signal, I don't even know how it works, to the other one, that in and of itself...
Okay. No, maybe this is what they're doing. They're not going to be making not radios, because that's with signals and things like that, like through the air. What they're doing is we're going to make the old like corded phones where there's like telephone lines and everything.
No,
and then,
there's no way. That takes away so much mobility.
Oh yeah.
They have to then make a tower. Like this is what they're going to do. This is what they're going to do. The mountain, Fuji, right? They're going to go, because there's no laws now about where you can build cell towers. They're going to build a massive tower at the top of the mountain, and no one's going to be able to see it from that far away, right?
Right.
But then they're going to be like, pooh! So then anything within like 100-mile radius or something that will then have access to then ping the communication from there to any other device.
They're
going to set up a base at like a tower. That's how it has to be. Otherwise, they're just making two-way radios, which is super inefficient.
Yeah.
And the range is super short.
Yep. So now one of the advantages that they do have here is since the village has been attacked, theoretically they could just go up and move. Right? Because they're going to have to rebuild this stuff anyways. Now, granted, they started rebuilding at the village, so they're probably going to stay there. But
they're probably going to stay there because they need to make at least some of the things with the machinery and stuff that they've already set up.
Yeah.
Good grief,
but man,
how much time do you think it'll take?
A long time.
But see, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Tsukasa won't let them have enough time to do it there if it's going to take a long time. Like, I don't think they can spend more than a month.
And this is what they're wanting to do for a preemptive strike. Like, granted, this would make any kind of offensive or even defensive, like, maneuvers and stuff
ridiculously good.
Yeah.
So communications, yes, Senku is right. In terms of the greatest weapon that we have in our modern times right now, is we have instant communication with anyone on the globe at any time.
It's that transfer of
as
information.
long as they have the same technology.
Yep.
Which is insane.
That is absolutely ridiculous.
Which means that I could, theoretically, order a phone, through Amazon, get it, send it to some far off, some completely underdeveloped, isolated, tribe of people or what have you. They could have it, and then I could then basically upgrade their whole level of communication to the modern times.
Well, and that's why one of the biggest things in the third world countries is get the internet, get the cell phones. Get
the internet, and then you basically have access to the global economy.
Yep.
Prices of things start to fluctuate dramatically based on that, and then you're able to, utilize your time and energy in order to build into that. And that's probably the most exciting things about the global market is the internet giving everyone access to that. But they're not doing the internet necessarily. They're just making a closed, well, not really closed if other people had maybe some access to that. It just depends on how they choose to do this there.
Right.
However, we're going to the scientific roadmap to get ourselves acquainted with what they will actually be doing here.
Right. Now, one of the things that is potentially a big deal here, though, is that if they're specifically wanting not necessarily communication between the people that are doing the attack, but communication from Taiju and Yusuriha, who are inside, then they could set up a basic telephone that they have in a hidden location, and then as long as they can go there and communicate, they can still get the relevant information that they need, and then maybe have another setup for distributing to the people that are actually on the front lines or something.
Okay, so let's go into this roadmap here. They start off with copper, coal, charcoal, and a beehive. That gives them the ability to make plastic. Plastic is insane.
Yeah.
If they just make plastic, that in of itself is nuts.
That's ridiculous.
Do you know how useful just having Tupperware is?
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, so then from there they go to coil, which they need to make with gold, and then they'll have wire, coil. Okay, that's awesome, because then there is going to be a wire aspect to this here.
Right, because I think that's the battery right there.
No, the battery is on the other side.
Oh,
here.
right. Okay,
they'll take the sulfuric acid, lead, and then they'll be able to make a battery out of that. Okay,
wow.
Sure.
Okay.
Because remember, the battery that we experience is more the casing. The stuff inside it, is primarily that
so
stuff.
So then
there.
just lead and tin to make a solder, and then that with the plastic that they make a circuit board. That is crazy.
Okay, I'm starting to see how things come together there. Now, I'm really curious though, because they take their light bulb that they already have, and they apply it with the mercury vacuum pump and the phosphorus, and they get a vacuum tube. What's the vacuum tube for? That part.
That's
I don't know what that part would be. I must be missing something.
I'm not sure, but okay.
Nothing in here actually correlates to some kind of tower. So in some ways, there might be an entirely separate thing for that. This is just the development of the device itself.
Sure.
And then the main point would be that they would have to have duplicates of this device.
Yeah, wait. Is this...
Yeah, I guess...
No. Is this going to be a regular phone?
This is going to be just a regular phone calling any other phone.
That is...
So yeah, they might not... No, they need towers. They need something.
Yeah, they need a tower,
They need
for
something
sure,
that's redirecting the signal. Otherwise, it's basically just a radio.
And maybe that's...
Wait, wine going into Rochelle Salt, and then from there you get the microphone and headphones?
Okay.
I am so on board with this, and yet I am so out of my depth here.
So maybe what the vacuum tube is for, because in old style computers there would be vacuum tubes, if I recall correctly, as a part of the system.
Okay.
And that when computers got bugs. In the olden days, it was that there was an actual bug that got inside the tube.
Really?
Yeah, I could totally be wrong about that, but so I would think that would be something of an aspect that would go along with the circuit board.
So this thing's going to be clunky. This thing's going to be big.
Yeah. I'm
going to be awkward.
Guessing it's going to be super big.
Right. So in terms of what we can expect to see within this, we'll go back to the days of the device that's about, this big.
Or like a shoulder,
Yeah, you have basically a pack with it, just like they have their, gas mask kind of setup and things. And yeah, I could see them actually doing all of this because they have a lot of these individual ingredients already. I could see them doing this in a month. Because if they're just developing one, and then they're able to duplicate the process, yeah, right. I could see with the amount of people that they have and that they dedicate everyone to this process, a month might even be longer than what it'll actually take. But I am insanely excited, literally, about plastic.
Yeah,
plastic would change everything because. While, yes, we currently have a problem with plastic being too rampantly just created and stuff to the point where it's just...
No, the reason that plastic is a problem nowadays is because it's too good. Because it doesn't go away. It's just there, and it's easy to mass produce and all that stuff.
But it never was a thing that would go away, though.
No, I know. But that's why it's so helpful here, right? Because,
exactly.
Because even glass could break or something like that or whatever. But plastic, no, it's lightweight, it's malleable. It's,
the malleable part alone is just insane. You just...
you don't need to have, this master craftsman glass blower, all that stuff in order to make your what you've got. So,
yeah. This is insane.
Oh, and also an insulator.
Where?
Well, isn't that one of the other things you could use plastic for?
Oh, potentially, yeah. It has a pretty good, I would say, heating point. Maybe.
I don't know. Well, actually, in some ways, sorry, for like electricity.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Then definitely. Wow.
Oh man.
Well, that's probably why it's on the circuit board specifically. Is that,
right.
They need to have very specific things going on in there. I'm excited for the plastic and the circuit board for the most part, and I'm curious about the vacuum tube. That's the one. That's the one where I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
I'm also very curious about the battery, because batteries are fairly basic when you get down to it, but that's having electricity in order to make the light bulb, glow and all that stuff in the one episode was awesome from a narrative and emotional standpoint and everything, right? But once you get the ability to store it, that is
it's a passive upgrade, which means that the thing that you're producing, you can then stockpile it and have an near infinite storage of it, considering infinite time. So
that is insane.
Right. It's one of the things that people got excited about a few years ago when people were considering the possibility of solar power being something that could, keep you completely independent in terms of energy production. And then it was like, well, if you don't use that energy, though, there's no real point of having it. So then Tesla at the point was making these massive storage units, basically, where you would basically take
power walls or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then that would be the thing that would distribute the power to your house and what have you. So there'd be people that would be entirely energy positive.
Off the grid,
Yeah, and to the point where they would actually then have too much energy. So they would then sell it back to the grid. And their electric bill was not a bill, but it was negative, so that the company would get a check given to them basically every month because they were generating power for the grid. This is exciting. This is exciting because, let's take the episode in its entirety here. Tsukasa gets the focus along with Hyoga at the beginning.
Yep.
And we got his name wrong. It's not Kyoga, it's Hyoga.
Yeah.
I messed that up, so let me change my notes there. Hyoga is his name. He is one of the greatest fighters that Tsukasa knew.
Yep.
So he basically brings him along and tells him very quickly about his vision and gives him basically the whole rundown of the way things are, asks him some legitimate questions because it's a thing where, there's a possibility that this guy doesn't agree with you, Tsukasa.
Right. And then in that case, you might want to... if they would come to blows, don't make sure he doesn't have a spear yet,
Well, right. But I think that in some ways, Tsukasa already didn't fear him because he knows that he is superior in a physical way to that. So he's trying to coax him into this as well.
Right.
But he is bringing up some half-decent arguments. There are ways in which technology and science is abused in a way to basically... provide a dynamic of power in which there are those that are very much not enjoying.
Right.
And I loved even the simplest bits of the blonde girl that was in the nest.
Right. Which is like, talking, there are people that abuse their power in the old system. Yeah, I had to, like half of my living went to rent and stuff. Yeah, that's right. Now stay in your nest, Stay
in your nest and wait for me to come back so I can enjoy the benefits of being the strongest in this world.
It seems more like that Tsukasa's skills just maybe weren't necessarily as useful in that old system, and they are in this one.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But in this system, there is an aspect of the idea of happiness being something that a lot of these people are then going to enjoy more so. So from their perspective,
for the next 15 years.
No, for a considerable amount of time. Yeah, until they get older. Yeah, for sure.
Sanitation and everything.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly.
Teeth fall out.
But in terms of living in a utopia, for them, they get to have that. Sure. So it's a very short-sighted but very convincing argument. And I like that Gen brought that up in that, a lot of these people aren't thinking about the future. They are not thinking about the whole species because they don't care.
Sure.
Like think about it.
This is a nice vacation for now.
Well, right. But think about actually how selfish the individual is. Generally speaking, you don't care about other people.
Right.
Which is really messed up when you think about it. But it's also a thing of like, actually, think about it.
But even if you do care about other people, even if you care about other people a lot, generally your priority will still be with you. It's the thing in stories where it'll be the person that's held hostage, right?
Right.
And it's no. Don't you care about all these people that will die if you help the bad guy or whatever? And it's like, no, but I also care about, my daughter, my wife, whatever, all that stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So in their case, a lot of these people, even the simpletons, with the muscles and stuff like that with their melted brains, as they basically got used as cannon fodder, that kind of shows to you where the philosophy of this really is. It's survival of the fittest.
Yep.
And that's basically despotism in all of its best possible ways.
And also, maybe I'm harping on this too much, but the fact that he kicked all three of them down rather than one at a time to test, that almost seems like there was some aspect of it where he just wanted them to die.
Well, I think in some ways the main point of it was, there's no way that he can really know any of it, and I think it was just to have the scene go quicker.
Sure.
Otherwise, he would sit there every once in a while, and every 10 minutes, boom, and it's like, come on,
let's wait a bit longer. There's only a few of us left. We want to make sure that one of us.
I'm strong. I can hold on here for at least another 5 hours.
Yeah.
Nah, you're going now.
But what if all of us die and it's still up there? Then you won't know when you can come down.
Dang, your melted brain is actually working out pretty well for you. I'll give you 5 more minutes. Yeah, for sure. But given that this is their society that they've created, they don't know necessarily of any current alternative. Now, they know what the alternative is based on the framing of Tsukasa's narrative.
Right.
And that is what happened in the past. So they just go, well, it's not that, and I'm currently actually really enjoying this, so I like that in some ways we're not going to get an episode anytime soon, at least, where they're going to do their propaganda kind of thing, where Senku uses basically like a broadcasting speaker of ramen? We got ramen.
Yeah.
And Senku and Tsukasa's just like, oh my god, you guys just shut him up. Yeah. Not only do we have ramen, but do you miss your smartphones? And they're like, ugh. Because to them, this was 5 seconds ago, when they got woken up. So
also, I gotta say, I love the fact that alongside the old world was terrible and awful, and was it a utopia? No, we're going to make a better one. Now, there's no way the world as it is can sustain 7 billion people. So, and it's like,
we'll have a culling.
No, right. But it's basically immediately after saying there was a problem with that world and we're going to fix it. Now, there's no way we can sustain the level of people that old world was doing because there's just no way. So let's just start killing a bunch of people.
Well, no, it just shows their short-sightedness. Is that but they're not thinking about their lives. I'm sorry, they're not thinking about what will
humanity
happen 1,000 years from now.
Right. But I love love the idea that was something that was mentioned, like
alone.
No, like in parallel with it. So it's like them talking about how this will be so much better, and then also talking about how there are so many things that they're just like, yeah, there's no way we can do that. Like,
well, right, but that's not necessarily required in their.
Oh, yeah, no, I know it won't change their minds and everything. I just
I'm saying it's not required. They don't need a billion people.
No, yeah, yep, no,
okay,
totally get it.
Okay.
I just it made the portrayal of their argument a lot more entertaining for me.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yes, I agree. I liked also that Gen was just there for this whole argument there, and he's just like, yeah, this is this is a problem.
Right. It maybe helps explain some of, like, I'm not sure if that was when he went back to the Tsukasa Empire or whether it would have been
a long time ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
no, it would have been a long time ago.
But it helps explain why he was kind of prepped to be like, I don't know if I want to. I want to hitch myself to them long term.
Yeah. What I actually wonder is, why was Gen brought back at all in the first place? Was it specifically because he's young and he will be good at helping draw up maybe a narrative? Because Tsukasa already had his narrative. He didn't need Gen for that.
I think it's just because Gen's really smart. Like he does have his skills that aren't necessarily combat focused, but he's like, okay.
He's more cunning though.
Right.
Smart.
But okay, sure. Yeah, he doesn't have like tons of like knowledge, Yeah,
he has a very specific field, very specific skills.
But he's got a good head on his shoulders, and Tsukasa has shown that he appreciates that, even if he still wants to have his empire be run a certain way. He needs that like select few of people that are like that, which might also explain why Gen was also allowed to be sort of a part of their little clique, even if he was trailing behind them,
Yeah. That's a good point. Also, I really liked how they had specific people kind of teased in this episode that were other members of the Tsukasa Empire that had their skills that were just unparalleled in the Senku's, Nation of Science. None of them could keep up with Homura. None of them could keep up with her gymnastics, acrobatic skills and what have you.
Also, maybe this is just my obsession with snipers.
There was an archer.
But there was an archer
with a bow and arrow.
If you want to talk about one of the most terrifying weapons for back then in those days, freaking bow and arrow, because
and just with the training to be able to use it properly.
Right. Yes, and you definitely do need that. What was it in the British longbowmen would be trained from very young age, a very young age and stuff.
Very young age, yeah.
But being able to fight from 100 feet away, that's a big deal.
Yeah,
that's a very big deal.
The bow and arrow was dominant, well into the later periods of the Mongols. So, in terms of it wasn't just ancient Sumerians and stuff. We're talking all the way up until 1100 AD. As far as time with the bow was still dominant as far as things go. And you're mentioning the British longbowmen. Yeah, that would go up into the 1400s and stuff as well. But I'm meaning the biggest empire in the world was basically created by horses and bows and arrows.
Yeah. Oh, being able to kill people from 100 feet away
while riding a horse.
That's great. But what if you could also outrun everyone?
Yeah.
No.
Mongols are terrifying. Yeah. Okay, so we've got our next goal. We've got our next scientific roadmap. We got ourselves a little bit more of a look into seeing what the Tsukasa Empire is like. We got also the village entirely burned down for the most part, but now they're already rebuilding it. So that part felt a little bit kind of that set us back a little, but that's going to be the time that they'll also take with having Hyoga go back. So the amount of time that it would take to make the smartphone versus the amount of time it would take to have Tsukasa be okay, how much time am I willing to prep before we just rush over there?
To make sure that we have a good-sized army,
Right, so I would say we're still 3 episodes away, maybe, from Tsukasa coming back then.
Probably.
Because I think we're going to go back to form a little bit and gather some resources, build some things.
And that's probably what the finale will be,
the finale will be
them coming in and,
2 episodes of them, attacking or something,
I gotta say, I really loved how there were consequences on both sides.
Yes.
Victories and defeats and everything. The whole thing of the village being burned down, yes, even though they defended the bridge, right? The idea of, but what if someone just, goes and swims and climbs up the cliff? That would Like, at first, I was worried that it was going to be like Tsukasa with like a couple of people that just come in behind it. All right, you're all dead now. Like, but this was still great. And I also loved that we got to see science be really terrifying again because given the fact that, like, say with the katanas, they cut up the weapons and stuff, they don't actually start dismembering people, you know?
Right, yeah.
Which I totally get it for the kind of show this is and everything and the style they want to take with it, right? Totally. Sure. That being said, the idea of showing just how terrifying science would be in a land like this where you don't have science, right? Having the gas just come in and, nope, yeah, they're all hiding up on trees, you know, for dear life. And, a couple of them just, you know, get pushed down. Yeah, they're dead. Instantly, they're dead. Yeah. That's it. Like,
it was a cool callback. It was something that, like, I was able to then just predict naturally of if Suika is going to take them anywhere. What is the one place that they would not want to go if they knew where they were going?
Right.
Oh, obviously the lake. And then what do you know? Because of the fact that they did say that there was a great wind coming because of the fire. That was something I think the old guy was like, crap. If the wind is blowing in this way,
the fire.
We need to stop the fire so it doesn't just devastate the whole forest and everything.
Right.
So they went and they, you know, took that seriously. So that was rather good. But then they go and have Suika being like, I'm going to lead them all the way. And it's like, oh, Suika, you're so adorable and cute and wonderful. And you boing, 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 bouncing around. And then we're like, oh, wait, but where would she take them? Okay, the lake. Wonderful.
And then the whole thing of like the squirrel dropping dead. And it's like, uh-oh.
You have 2 seconds. And then Kohaku.
And then Kohaku, and that was wonderful.
What I liked there as well was the panic in our minds because we didn't communicate, I would say, until the last possible second that Ginro specifically told Senku and Kohaku, I tried to get her to stop, but she went off. And then Senku immediately knew, oh crap, I know what she's doing. We can't let her die.
Yeah.
So then they were already kind of en route because there was that tricky aspect of how'd they get there so quickly? Well, it's like no. Well, once she left and did that, they were already on their way to stop her.
One of the things though that I really like that they brought up here in order to address some of that timing stuff is that Suika wasn't just running.
Right.
She was running, hiding for a while, and
running again.
Then running again. And that's something where it's like, okay, now we can have people actually catch up.
Yeah.
Right? Which is awesome. That was also, I think, what they did for Hyoga and the other girl, right? Because they
Homura,
left later. Yeah, Homura. Because otherwise it's like, are they just way faster? Or, you know, how is that going to work?
Right.
And then that's a way for them to be rescued and all of that stuff. So
yeah, it's probably also one of the tricky things of just adapting from manga to anime is that in a manga you have to show lots of individual frames of a specific thing happening. So then there would be gaps in terms of the delivery of the story of where you're not focusing on a certain scene. You can't just constantly cut back and forth to all the different things really quickly in a manga like that. Otherwise the reader would probably get a little bit disjointed and confused.
Like you'd probably only want to do that for like very specific, like high intensity situations.
Yeah, and have them all relatively be engaged in the same type of conflict. So that's kind of like a battle kind of thing where they're all in the same area, but you just kind of bounce between characters that you know.
Slight tangent example, but that was actually what was done for the end of season 2 of Attack on Titan. That final battle,
yes,
there were a lot of simultaneous, and they showed it in the anime. But,
because you also read the manga.
But in the manga, they had a bunch of like cutting to different places and stuff, and
but you're able to keep the continuity with that because there would be big things that all of them would react to.
Yeah,
yes.
and it does like they made it plausible with the whole stops and everything, and then it builds tension. So why not wait to have them be running up and not see that they're necessarily grabbing the gas masks when they go to leave,
Yes.
So
yes, that was probably, I would say, the most exciting part of the episode was Suika basically making this decision. And then we're like, yes, Suika. And then we're like,
oh no, Suika,
that'd be genius. And then we're like, oh no, Suika. And then suddenly they're all there. So that was a good, that was a good combo. Senku then be like, all right, why'd you go run back to Mommy Tsukasa and suck on her teat a little bit because you guys are so like inept with regards to handling our brilliant science.
And it just,
after 10 billion seconds of waiting for, maybe it'll be safe at that point.
Yeah. And it just builds up Senku even more of the, did I start this?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the typical thing where the DM basically accidentally creates the perfect thing for the PC's character backstory thing.
yeah.
And then they're like, oh my God, the DM set this up. And you're like looking at your notes. There's nothing there. Like, yes, I did. I did set this up. And then you start scribbling like furiously. You know?
The notepad is like, remember to do funny voices. You know,
Yes.
like
with like, you know, a couple NPC flourishing things there, but then they're like completely off in a different land, and you're like,
but the characters
panically,
just
like,
kind of make
Wallace
the
and
story
Gromit style, putting the rails out in front of the train, you know.
and also it does satisfy my dark fan fiction or fantasy of wanting to see the acid used in an offensive measure.
Which they did kind of use.
Which they did do.
Yeah, you're right.
Although reminding at the same time of Mother Nature doesn't care. Like,
neither friend nor foe.
Nor foe. She kills you just the same. So that was great.
But okay, yeah. This was a good first encounter of the two warring nations at this point. But there were casualties.
Yeah.
There were actual deaths involved here. And while Senku did not actually kill them, this is the point that I'd say feeds into Tsukasa's narrative, and I could see him totally using this.
They believe that Senku killed them.
Yes, exactly. Is that they're going to go back and say that Senku is an evil proponent of the old world who used chemical weapons to kill, you know, a bunch of us, some of our strongest warriors.
Yep.
And then all the people are going to get this feeling of like, oh my God, we need to kill him. And then what I would love to have also done in a way, then I think would be really awesome, is to have Taiju and Yuzuriha hearing this and them thinking in their minds like, yeah, there's no way he would actually do that. But that's how far he was pushed to do things potentially by Tsukasa. This is, whoa, things are getting serious.
Speaking of
Taiju and
Yuzuriha. One of the things that I really like here is that this is a good example of sort of the Keikaku Dori from the smart person, is that Senku had them infiltrate the Tsukasa Empire.
And just live there.
Yep. And just live there.
Yep.
Now, granted, the fact that Senku is alive might jeopardize their position there. But
you're right.
Like, that could really jeopardize their position potentially. But if not, it's something where Senku is then able to utilize the fact that they're there for this purpose, but it is not at all something that he was planning that it would be in this way when he had them go infiltrate, right?
Right.
It's just that I'm just sending you out there, and it will be helpful eventually. There's the potential that we can do something with that. Now he's like, this is great. Yeah, if I get telephones and I get one to them, oh man, we will run circles around Tsukasa.
The little bit where he was like in the military guard. that was so funny.
That was absolutely great. But it's something where it's not that Senku just knows everything. It's that he's properly setting things up and then sort of going with the flow.
Yeah, adapting to the environmental changes as they come up, and then inserting, I would say, pretty good goals for the people around him so that they can have a little bit more influence over the environment as they continue forward, which is, you know, kind of the whole point of early civilization when it came to humans was we overcome nature because nature is really scary. So here we go. Smartphone time. So let's get science with it, y'all. So if you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there. And all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community about the show, about anime in general. And you can also talk with Jacob about the sci-fi novel that he wrote.
Yep, I did a thing. It's a sci-fi novel. It's called Battle Lines. It's really cool, and it's on Amazon for purchase. If you're interested, link in the description down below.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.